Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. How is everyone today? Hope you're well. It's another day without football, I'm afraid. But anyway, it's a quick live vlog just to say hello to everybody and keep you updated with what's going on, which, as you know, we all know about the football, but is there any news? Well, there's a little bits of news going around, and it's going to be interesting because, as I said yesterday on Martin's live vlog, and if you haven't seen that, go over and watch it. Very funny, very, very funny. You're going to hear a lot of transfer rumours. You're going to hear everything else because the media, they've got nothing else to talk about. So you're going to hear all sorts of speculation and things like that that's going on. But anyway, let's see who is on. Jack Lee, hello Andy, how are you, Jack Lee? Gary Dineen, hello, how are you, buddy? Good to have you on. How we all doing? Yes, very good. Mingy Wong, oh, hi there. How are you, Mingy Wong? Yeah, few people on. This is going to be a quick one. I thought Martin was doing one tonight, and he wasn't. He's busy doing stuff. He will come on and try and mod at some point, but he's in a meeting at work. So I just quickly thought, oh, bugger. I'll do something very quickly and put together some bits of news and things like that. Now, if you haven't seen it already, any of the new series, which is the player debate, go over and check it out. I put another one out today, and if I can find it, don't forget there's this video that you can go over and you can have a watch of. This today is all about goalkeepers. Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. I was welcome to the latest episode of the various aspects of goalkeepers, and this is episode 3, and we're going to just talk about potentially. Now, as we know, if Bravo was to leave, who potentially we Claudio in. Bravo's I also tried to look at some statistics with regards to some of the top keepers of role football with the likes sure of what it is. But we always have a goalkeeper. Now, and compared them to we know. If you look at the episode 1, Claudio Bravo players on loan, we know we've got 2, and also really we've got 3 keepers out on loan. Some of the stats Daniel are really interesting when you look at certainly when it does things like crossing. He's going to be coming back to Manchester City passing in particular. Which we've got Harry Muric at Nottingham Forest, who's only played around 4 games our this season, and lots of teams now we've got play out the back. So if you haven't seen it, please go over at Fortune Dusseldorf. So there you go. Rather than look at Muric and add Muric video that I put out, that's episode 3 of the player debate. Concentrate on Zach Steffen. You can go over and have a rather than just looking at stats. Don't forget if you haven't seen episode 2, Steffen. Episode 2 was let me take a selection of the top keepers in the world. Now talking about who we think everybody. So if there are others out there, you think, oh, what about this keeper at Ajax or what? I couldn't do everybody, so I just picked 3 who are considered players right currently out on loan football at various clubs. Jan Oblak. Where they are, where they came from, how much money they cost as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at which clubs they've been at on loan, statistics, etc. So go over and check those out. And again, we are. I could have picked 20 different stats, which is the one out today. One stat, and then there's going to be very obvious where we're talking about defenders. Episode 5 is midfielders. But then again, I was looking at episode 6 was stats and all about strikers. You've got the likes of Zach Steffen playing in pretty interesting when we look at the midfield. Fortuna Dusseldorf going to lead to get attacked quite a lot, which a lot of shots, etc. But anyway, that's just a. You can go over and check that video out. It's on the channel now, and yeah, if you watch it, we'll really appreciate it. And give us your comments below. Anyway. Scott Williams is on Afternoon Blues. Hope everyone is good. Carl's on. Hi, Carl. How are you, buddy? How's Washington? Man City 255. Hey there, citizens. How are you, Man City 255? Andy Dow. Andy Dow. I'm seeing double. Thoric Satsuma, you were. Bingy Wong, not too bad, thanks. How are you? Sergeant Awesome, cough. Keep that to yourself, Sergeant Awesome. Carl, Andy, something wrong? You playing both? No, mate. I wasn't playing both. I was showing you the video that went out today. You've got a problem. I have a double voiceover. Oh, does it come across to you Does it come across to you as a double voiceover? If it does, I apologise. Martin's messaged me. Let me just see. You're playing 2 videos, pal. Do you know? Right, yes. I was just putting up there. I didn't realise it wasn't coming through for me. It wasn't coming through as double audio. So I do apologise for that. What I wanted to do was just show you a link to a video. It seems that it was playing the audio as well. So that I do apologise about. That's better, says Mank Forever. Ooh, Mank Forever. Doesn't matter now. Hi, Andy, all blues. Everyone keep distance, but schools remain open. Well done, Boris. Oh, that's not good news, is it, for you, Martin, in particular? This is embarrassing. Go away. School's not closed yet. Yeah, it is. Andy, quit the play video. I have done, mate. Don't worry. 2 lots of Andy, you lucky devils. Boris Johnson comes across as a bit of a plum. Wow. He does come across as a bit of a plum. I can't believe. But, I mean, there is a video. There's actually quite an interesting video. I put it on social media yesterday, I think it was. And it was talking about how they're going to... It was a professor of science and something or other, and he was trying to show how the country could potentially control this virus. And actually, it was really interesting. It was in simplistic terms. It was showing you how he was pouring water into a bottle that had a hole in it and leaking, and it was about filling it up. And it came across as really simplistic, but actually, you could see and understand why the government might just play this out and for the long game, because what we don't want is everybody in hospital or everybody having to be treated at once, because it would the NHS system would just overflow. And that was what his basic sort of premise was to his particular video. So I know it's not as simplistic as that, and I really don't want to go down the whole COVID-19 thing. We've done it to death. Good evening, Andy. Chris Baker, how are you, mate? You well? Shadow Rundown, I think schools will close 14 days before the Easter holidays. Boris Johnson doing his best Otamendi impression. I've not seen it, so I don't know. Did he go dive into somebody or something like that? Boris cares more about the country's economy rather than people's health. What a greedy wrong-un. Anybody got any binoculars I can borrow? Hi, Andy and guys. Yeah, that water thing was very clever. It was simplistic, but it was actually quite clever in the way that he tried to explain the way that the NHS would be able to cope at certain times. If they were to shut down everything immediately, how it would overflow the system, and he was basically trying to intimate that we've got one shot at this to get it right, and if we just have a drip feed. So imagine a bottle and we're just pouring in water and that bottle's got a hole in it. They're the people basically who are being released from hospital after being treated. And we've got a bottle that is about that big, which is we're going to pour water in and there's a hole at the bottom. And this whole bucket of water is the population. And he said, look, if we just pour it in bit by bit, we can cope with it because... we'll cope with whatever. There'll be a release of people who are now better, and we'll just keep doing that. But if we pour everything at the moment into this bottle, which is putting everybody in isolation and doing things like that, then it will overflow. It will overflow, and the NHS will immediately not be able to cope with the situation. Hence why he was trying to give that example. And it was very simplistic, but it did explain it in a very easy way to understand, and you can see where they're coming from with it. Somebody made a comment, is it about holding off a recession? I definitely think that is a big part of it as well. And let's face it, last thing we want to do is go into a recession. But anyway, let's get back to your comments and talk about some football. Well said, Man City 255. Hello, all. Good afternoon. Am I the only one that kind of misses talking about FFP? We're going to talk about that in a minute. Look at your phone in 5, pal. No, I'm not going to look at my phone. I know what you're going to do. Sergeant Awesome Andy, I just watched the video of Boris wiping out someone whilst playing rugby. Oh, was that what it was? Have you not seen it? No, mate, because I'm doing this. I don't think he will look at his phone. He was playing football SA. Is that South Africa or something like that? No, Premier League is going to be so boring now. At least these live streams are fun. It was football. Jesus. I don't know what you're going on about. I haven't seen the Boris Johnson stuff because, like I said, I was just putting up and preparing for this live vlog. So I haven't seen any of that, if I'm being honest with you. But let's go on and talk about a little bit of football while we're at it. Kevin De Bruyne. Well, let's see if we can have a look at the Kevin De Bruyne story. And that is Man City star Kevin De Bruyne tipped to win the PFA Player of the Year ahead of the Liverpool duo. And this is in an article today saying Man City star Kevin De Bruyne has been backed to win this season's PFA Player of the Year ahead of Liverpool duo Jordan Henderson and Trent Alexander-Arnold after the Belgian superb campaign for Pep Guardiola's side in the Premier League. City star De Bruyne should win the PFA Player of the Year award according to former West Ham and Portsmouth midfielder Gary O'Neill. He has simply been a better footballer this season than Liverpool duo Jordan Henderson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. 5 Liverpool players make up the 6 favourites for the awards this season. Sadio Mane has narrowly jumped ahead of Henderson as the current favourite for the award. Virgil van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold and Mohamed Salah are also in the mix to win the PFA Player of the Year. While Kevin De Bruyne is currently 3rd for the award, O'Neill thinks he deserves to be crowned as this year's winner. He said, "I would have just gone with Kevin De Bruyne. I just love what he does and what he's all about. Trent Alexander-Arnold would be so unlucky to miss out. I think he's had an unbelievable season and could quite possibly win both player and young player. Jordan Henderson is another that I've mentioned to me. People have mentioned to me so many times. I would love him to win it, but I try to look at it logically and try to take emotion and the romance out of it. I think sometimes we get a little bit carried away because he was written off at Liverpool and people were saying that he's nowhere near good enough for a replacement for the likes of Steven Gerrard and looked like his time was going to be cut short. To have gone from there to being their captain, winning the Champions League this year, probably leading to their Premier League glory this year, I think he deserves a mention. But when you look at the cold facts of it, has he been a better midfielder than Kevin De Bruyne this year? Purely on footballing basis, for me, he hasn't. Other players have probably had a better season performance-wise than him, Salah, Alisson and Van Dijk, so I would give it to De Bruyne just, but Henderson and Trent will be very unfortunate to miss out on it. So, what are your thoughts? Who do you think should be Premier League Player of the Season? Because remember, that's the PFA Awards, so it's all about the players voting, and God knows how they're going to vote now with everything that's going on, but I just don't see the Jordan Henderson thing. I really don't, and that's not a City thing. I can understand the likes of maybe Mane, in particular. I think has had an exceptional season for Liverpool. I don't think Salah deserves anywhere near it, if I'm being honest. I don't understand how he could possibly be in there. Trent Alexander-Arnold's had a decent season. I think if I was taking one player from Liverpool, it wouldn't be Van Dijk. Van Dijk's had an average season, in my opinion. I think Mane has been exceptional. Very, very good this season. But I don't even know how you can mention Alisson, if I'm being honest. But for me, Kevin De Bruyne, even with his injuries, has been absolutely phenomenal. But then again, if you look at the impact Jordan Henderson's had, you've got to be a mention for Fernandinho and what he's done playing as a centre-back for City this season. But Liverpool are going to dominate it. They are, because of where they are in the league before the cancellation or suspension of the Premier League. So it's interesting. We'll wait and see if it will there ever be a vote. Who knows? Let's go back to your Jesus gets a 5-player rating. Don't know what that's on. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne. I hope Sané returns from his injury soon enough. Sargent, he'll be back by our next game because they are all cancelled until he's back. Andy Mendy isolated himself. He did. Lankau, when's the next player ratings? COVID-19 gets a 10 from me. Such good preference that he knocked out the whole world. Incredible player. What would you guys pick? No Premier League for the entire season or playing with closed doors? Good question. Mank forever. Does anyone else think the last 6 games will be played behind closed doors? I think these, by all accounts, I think we've heard the PFA chairman come out saying there's absolutely no way that the season will be null and void. We've also then had the chief executive of the FA come out after that statement saying there is no decision made yet, one way or the other. So for me, my own personal opinion is they will play the games at some point, whenever that is. The remaining games will be played behind closed doors. Now, apparently, the rumours are that training is going to resume next week, which means the players will have to get up to fitness, where that stands with regards to playing games. And let's face it, I've said this on numerous occasions, the likes of Liverpool have played, even though they deserve it. Look, don't get me wrong, they're so many points ahead. They deserve the Premier League title, but they haven't officially won it. So you go into the end of a season where there's 8, 9, 10 games to play, and they've played City at their own ground. They've played the likes of Arsenal at their own stadium. They played 4 or 5 other teams that they've got to play away at their own stadium, but they're going to play the likes of City at the Etihad behind closed doors. No fans, no support, no nothing. I know someone says, "Oh, go on, I'm waiting for it. Oh, it'll just be the same." But you know what I mean. They're going to play Arsenal at the Emirates behind closed doors. So there is a massive advantage to that. Not that I would think in any way, shape, or form that Liverpool would drop all their points and not win the Premier League. Not at all. But it does tarnish. It does tarnish any potential trophy win this season because it's not the same. It's not been done in the same way that any other Premier League, any other, title, championship, whatever you want to call it, other teams have won it. It just simply hasn't. So there'll always be a little bit of a tarnished record next to the name, which is a shame because they have been exceptional this season. But it ain't going to be the same as any other winning season. So that's my thoughts on it. Does anyone else think the last 6 games will play behind closed doors? Yes, I do. Time to sign Corona from Porto. No closed doors, please. It's going to happen. There might be empty stadium for the Liverpool game. There will be. It would be satisfying to see Anfield empty while LFC play. Mark the Blue, I've just been laid off work today, Andy. God knows for how long. I know, mate. I am so sorry to hear that news, Mark the Blue. It's a worrying time. It is a worrying time. Remember, I'm in aviation as well, and aviation has been absolutely decimated. It really has. Thankfully, we'll be fine. But it's not great. When you hear today, and I look at it, and all my clients and things, and you hear Virgin Atlantic are telling staff that to vote on having 8 weeks unpaid leave to save jobs. Otherwise, there will be redundancies one way or the other. Now that says to me 8 weeks. That's 2 months before any resumption of norm or even start potentially flying more than 25% capacity. And that's not just air crew. I mean, that's going to be engineers. It's going to be ground staff. It's going to be everything. And I think there's 250,000 people work in the aviation sector in the UK alone. Probably more than that, if I'm being honest, but sort of main registered people. So yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that news, Mark. It's terrible. It's absolutely shocking, the impact it's had on people's lives, livelihoods, and everything else that goes with it. So I hope you can sort something out, buddy. I really, really do, and I do apologise, and I do feel sorry for you, buddy. And keep your chin up. You never know what's around the corner. Good content latest, chaps. Thank you, Mark. Sergeant, imagine 30 years of pain for your staff, players and fans, and you finally crack it and it's great for you. But you can't actually see it because it's behind closed doors. Yeah, some flights have been cancelled. Also, EasyJet have announced it too. Yes, they have. I still don't get why everyone is panic buying loo roll. How is Bogrow going to stop the spread? No, it's madness. Mark the Blue, best of luck to you. And Andy, thank you very much, Sergeant. Awesome. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. It's one of those things. We just have to wait and see, don't we? We have to ride it out. It's one of those. But certainly, I've not lost my job. But I know people are about to lose it, and Mark there is an example of one it's already happened to. So it's a terrible, terrible, time of year, and with everything else that's going. So my apologies with that. Right, let's move on to the next one, and that is talking about City, the best Premier League team ever. And this was an article in the Manchester Evening News by Joe Bray. And it says the 2 games that prove Man City are the best ever Premier League team. It said City legend Francis Lee has identified 2 recent performances that show Pep Guardiola has his side playing the best football the Premier League has ever seen. City are second in the Premier League this season and will lose the title when the season resumes to Liverpool. But while results have not been maintained to the high standards of the previous 2 seasons, Guardiola has overseen some brilliant performances this season on a par with any City have produced under his management. And former striker Lee says the wins against Aston Villa in the Premier League and the Manchester United in the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final are evidence that no side has ever played football like this City side. Against Villa, City raced to a 4-0 half-time lead through Riyad Mahrez scoring 2, Aguero and Gabi Jesus. Aguero would complete his hat-trick after half-time in a devastating attacking display. While the demolition of Aston Villa saw Aguero and Jesus both start, the 3-1 win over Old Trafford saw Guardiola line up with no recognised striker. Instead, Bernardo Silva dismantled Everton's defence as a false 9, as City effectively won the semi-final in the first half of the first leg. 2 games, Lee says, just shows how brilliant Pep Guardiola is. He said, I think that Pep is definitely the best coach I've ever seen. I rate the team so highly, and I do think that Pep has transformed the game. Pep has thought it through and has really engaged the players. For example, if you look at the performance we produced at Old Trafford in the Carabao Cup and Aston Villa in the league earlier in the year, I think it showed this team is playing as well as any team we've ever seen in the UK. He's also got an amazing talent of 1, analysing the opposition, and 2, the way he trains and keeps his players fit and competitive for places. The manager has 22 top quality players fighting for 11 places, and it's a happy squad. That's not an easy thing to do, and able to balance this, but he has done it. They are just a joy to watch, and long may this continue. So high praise there from an ex-City legend, which is Franny Lee. I would suggest not only that, I would suggest the away leg at the Bernabeu, the 2-1 win against Madrid, was equally as demonstrative of how fantastic Pep Guardiola is. When you think you drop in the likes of Raheem Sterling, drop in Sergio Aguero, I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Right, let's just quickly see if there's any more comments on here. Imagine 30 years of paying for your staff. Done that one already. I love seeing the Blues celebrate in front of United. Manchester is blue. Thank you, Sergeant. Thank you, Andy. Much appreciated, Blue. You're more than welcome, buddy. My thoughts are with you certainly right now. Right, next one we're going to look at is fans want answers. And this is an article, again, in the Manchester Evening News. They've been really busy today, for obvious reasons, because there's not a lot to report on. But this was from Simon Bajowski. And it's the questions Man City will want answering at the UEFA Coronavirus Summit. And he talks about City and their fans. Football is currently in limbo, but this week should see more answers, even if there can be no certainty. They will definitely prove true in what is a complex and changing situation. Last Friday, the Premier League was suspended until April the 4th at the earliest, with the FA Cup and Women's Super League among the other competitions postponed. UEFA are meeting with representatives of clubs, players and leagues on Tuesday to try and work out what happens next. It is by no means straightforward, and many possibilities will have to be prepared for given how much disruption there's been and with the potential for more. But here is what City will hope to get some clarity on. So the first one is, how does this season get finished and who wins it? And the comments here, a few would begrudge giving Liverpool the title, albeit with an asterisk. But there is so much else to be decided that it would be unfair on too many teams to decide that the league is finished. And that goes for all leagues. City women top the Super League by a point, having played a game more than second place Chelsea, so there is no uniform solution. Postponing Euro 2020 is one of the biggest decisions that will have to be considered on Tuesday. Doing that would disrupt the international calendar, yet could buy precious time for clubs to finish their domestic leagues, cups, and European Cup competitions. The next is the knock-on effect into next season. And it says, even if the Euros are cancelled to make more time for club football, it's hard to see how the knock-on effect into next season can be avoided. Players will still need rest whenever the current campaign wraps up. And from a business perspective, clubs will also have been expecting to organise tours over the summer to boost their brand. Given the disruption coming from the Winter World Cup in 2022, how long-term a view will be taken of domestic competitions up to that point? Another problem is that coronavirus is a societal issue rather than strictly football, so there are no guarantees that any plans made now will chime with the policies and behaviour of the government of each European state. The next point is, what about the fans? Well, the most obvious way to restart football while limiting concerns around coronavirus would appear to be playing games behind closed doors. As long as the teams playing can confirm there are no risks, then matches could go ahead, but it would be a sterile environment in more ways than one. Speaking before the Arsenal game, Guardiola said, "We have to ask if it works to play football without spectators. If the people do not come to watch games, there is no sense. I wouldn't like to play in the Champions League, Premier League, Cups without people. We will follow the instructions. We are here for the people. 1 game, 2 games, maybe, but not longer. We do it for the people. I would not love to play without people in the stadium. Without people, I prefer not to play. We are here for the people. If the people cannot be there, it makes no sense. I would not like to play in my stadium without people." Lots of people. If UEFA say you have to play without spectators, then we are going to play without spectators. But the health is the most important thing. Then what happens with contracts in the transfer window? It says it's all very well extending the season, but player contracts are one of a number of issues making the situation more complex. David Silva, Claudio Bravo are out of contract on June the 30th. So could they get temporary deals taking them beyond if the season wasn't finished? Would they necessarily want that? There's also the transfer window to consider. Normally, it's between seasons, but delaying that would also impact on other contracts. Leroy Sané's contract runs out next summer, for example, but if this summer's window is delayed, that will mean even less time on his deal and worse negotiating position for City through no fault of their own. And finally, how is the Champions League ban affected? Well, says the coronavirus concerns have also hit the timetable at the Court of Arbitration for Sport, where the listings up until May the 18th do not include City's appeal over the decision to ban them from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. City may not get any answers either way on this soon, but if plans are made for this Champions League and the next year, the Blues will want to know whether they can plan to be in the competition or not. CAS General Secretary Matteo Reeb told Reuters on Saturday, "For the moment, there has been no significant impact on our operations, but we will continue to be vigilant. Only 3 hearings have been postponed so far." So there you go. So there's quite a lot of information surrounding the coronavirus, the suspension of the league, UEFA, you name it, anything that goes with it. And that was an article in the MEN by Simon Bajowski. So where that's going to take us, God knows. Let's just see who else is on. I'm still buzzing about the Madrid game, and it's been nearly a month. The greatest result in our history in Europe, and we beat Barcelona and had two brilliant Bayern comebacks. Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree, Man City 255. I think it was a wonderful performance. Martin Auchi. Mingyu Wong, UEFA are considering a mini league to have one rounds of what's that? One rounds of 16 and quarterfinals and semi-finals to make sports easier to travel. Looks like that's a proposal that we'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow, that they may just have, instead of home and away, may just have one leg. Where's that going to take place? Brian Gardner Handy, hope you're well. I'm good, buddy. How are you? Hope you're well as well. Next up, Angelino. A little bit of news on Angelino. Let me just go back. And this is an article saying Angelino returned to Man City when the Premier League winner signed him from Eindhoven last summer. Pep Guardiola preferred other players in the left-back position, and a lack of opportunities in the first half of the season saw the 23-year-old join RB Leipzig on loan in January. On the 4th of March, the fullback hinted the Etihad club's European ban could encourage him to leave City in the summer. His contract with City is until 2023, and Angelino has provided an update on his future while speaking to La Voz de Galicia. He said, I went to Manchester when I was 16, and I got the thorn in my head from not settling down. But I'm still a citizen, and I don't give up getting a place there, he explained. Angelino was with City from 2013 to 2018, and having struggled to find a place, he left them for PSV in 2018, only to rejoin the English side a year later. When asked if Guardiola spoke to him before the loan move to Leipzig, Angelino said, yes. He said he was going to be delighted, that it was the perfect setting to see me again. The defender has made 8 starts for the Bundesliga side in all competitions and is enjoying life in Germany. He insisted it wasn't a last-minute decision to join Leipzig on the final day of the winter market. He's, in quotes, it wasn't like that. It was an option that was there and that eventually came to fruition. It was the best option. Spectacular. Perfect for everything. The style, the team, the coach, the stadium, the fans. It took a while, but I am very happy, stressed the Spaniard. So, there you go. Angelino is very happy at Leipzig as it stands at the moment. And by all accounts, a couple of months before he left, he was also hinting that maybe if he wasn't going to get more game time, he was going to leave Man City. So I think that's probably saying everything, that Angelino won't be coming back to Manchester City. I think, if anything, he'll be sold to Leipzig if they offer us a decent amount of money. How much that money will be, 15, 20 million quid, maybe even 25, who knows. But I think that's the last, personally, I think that's the last we've seen of Angelino anyway. So, last couple of points. I was there when Aguero smashed in the winner in 91st against Bayern for his hat-trick at the Etihad. The atmosphere and the people and say we have no fans. Rangard, only symptoms I have is no footy. Don't listen to those idiots who say City have no fans. It would make no sense for a team to have no fans. I never do. I always point to the videos I have that game to shut them up. MCFC, okay, absolutely. What else we've got to talk about? Champions League fixtures. And this is the title again. This is from Conor O'Neill. This is another MEN article. It says UEFA set to propose Champions League and Europa League solutions that could affect Man United and City. And it goes on to say the coronavirus pandemic could force UEFA into playing Champions League and Europa League knockout ties in one-off games in order to finish the competition this season. UEFA confirmed last Friday that all fixtures in the Champions League and Europa League had been suspended due to the outbreak. The governing body also announced that the draws for the quarter-finals of the Champions League and Europa League planned for next Friday have also been postponed. Of all Europe's top leagues have faced widespread disruption, with the Premier League also postponing fixtures until the start of April. The UEFA statement read, in the light of developments due to the spread of COVID-19 in Europe and related decisions made by different governments, all UEFA club competitions matches scheduled next week are postponed. This includes the remaining UEFA Champions League round of 16, second leg matches scheduled on the 17th and 18th of March, UEFA Europa League round 16, second leg matches on the 19th, and UEFA Youth League matches on the 17th and 18th. Further decisions on these matches will take place and be communicated in due course. As a consequence of the postponements, the UEFA Champions League and UEFA Europa League quarter-finals draws scheduled for the 20th of March have also been postponed. UEFA yesterday invited representatives of 55 member associations, together with the boards of the European Club Association and the European Leagues, and a representative of FIFA Pro to a video conference meeting on Tuesday the 17th to discuss European football's response to the outbreak. And as we know, that is tomorrow. And now, according to a report in the Mirror, the governing body could be heading for a major revolution with quarter-final and semi-final ties being played over one leg when and if the competition finally resumes. That is one of the proposals up for discussion at the UEFA crisis meeting tomorrow, according to the report, which also says that there is a determination to still stand by the Champions League final day on May the 30th in Istanbul, with the Europa final in Gdansk 3 days later. The UEFA summit will be done by a video conference with all 55 member associations taking part tomorrow, and moving Euro 2020 by a year until the summer of 2021 is also a key to rescheduling, as it would enable domestic seasons to be played beyond May the 30th. Now, so as it stands at the moment, they actually think there's going to be no football. There's going to be no football, we know, until the 4th or even further. There's going to be no football at all from then. And the chances are there's going to be no football whatsoever in April, or till towards the end of April, if possible. So teams have got to try and finish a season where they might be 8, 9, 10 games behind closed doors. That is at the, 3 games a week is going to be an absolute push, a push. Every 2 days a game, every 2.5 days a game to get this through it. So that would take 2 to 3 weeks, which would take you straight into, well, where are they going to fit in? Where are they going to fit in? The return leg fixtures, City versus Madrid, the last 8, the last 4, the semis, and the final to May the 30th. I mean, it just goes to show you what UEFA are all about. They don't give a flying shite about what's going on. It's all about money for them. And they're turning around and saying, oh, well, we're still planning at this stage that the Champions League final will go ahead in Istanbul on May the 30th. Really? Jesus Christ, they're unbelievable. They are absolutely unbelievable. Let's go back. Last few comments before I go. Andy, City fans aren't plastics either. No. I guarantee LFC and Barchester United have plastic fans 100%. Every team has its plastics, but most of us are real. That would stay here to the end. We could go into the 11th tier and I'd still support the club, absolutely. End of. Martin says, Boris said at least 12 weeks on social gathering, so no chance we will start 3rd of April, so looking at June earliest. Man City 255, I'm sorry, has United ever beaten Real at home? Mingy Wong, would you think the pre-season friendlies are going to be postponed? What do you think? Honestly, what do you honestly think, Mingy Wong? Do you honestly think that pre-season friendlies are going to go ahead when we're possibly not even going to finish the league yet? There'll be absolutely no pre-season friendlies, buddy. No pre-season friendlies whatsoever. Finally, last little thing, and this is Leon President proposes solution that will see Man City win the Premier League ahead of Liverpool. We like this fella already. Leon President Jean-Michel Aulas has proposed a new method for deciding final league standings if the football season cannot be completed. He's proposed using an average of historical finishing positions to determine where teams should finish in the table if the football season cannot be completed, and Manchester City would win the Premier League if it was implemented. The coronavirus pandemic has seen most of the league in Europe suspended, as well as the Champions League and Europa League. UEFA will decide on Tuesday. We've already talked about that. However, if the spread of coronavirus means that the leagues across Europe cannot be completed, then there's been a debate over how the final table should be decided or whether leagues should even be voided. Each option has plenty of pros and cons, and the fairest option would be to complete each season if possible. As club officials around Europe weigh in on what's the best course of action, Olas has provided his strange suggestion to use an average finishing position from the last 5 seasons to calculate the Ligue 1 table. Olas tweeted, "There is another solution according to experts, the historical ranking over 3 years or 5 years, but the best solution will be to finish the championship, but it's going to be difficult." At this point, it's worth saying that Lyon are currently 7th in Ligue 1, 8 points off Europa League qualification. Under Aulas' suggestion, they would finish around 2nd with an average finishing position of 2.8 over the last 5 seasons. So, as we wait for UEFA and the Premier League to announce their plans to finish the season, how would City be affected by using the last 5 years to complete this season? Unsurprisingly, with City having won the league for the last 2 seasons, their average is the lowest in the Premier League, 2.2, and would be handed the title despite sitting 25 points behind Liverpool. City finished first in 2018 and 2017-18 with 3rd, 4th and 2nd place finishes going back through the previous 3 years. If this season's current standings are included in the calculations, Liverpool would finish 2nd with an average position of 3.8. If this season was not included, Liverpool's average would be 4.8, and they would incredibly finish 6th in the imaginary table. I'm liking this guy already. I absolutely love this Lyon president. I think he talks more sense than anyone else. Liverpool's finishes going back from last season are 2nd, 4th, 8th and 6th. Apart from denying Liverpool a completely deserved title, the ridiculous plan also fails to accommodate the likes of Sheffield United and Wolves, who are challenging for Europe, having played in the Championship in the last 5 years. It would also see top 4 finishes for Arsenal and Tottenham, despite their disappointing showings this season. So they basically said, if we were to use this absolute dream of a guy, Olis is working out the Premier League table, looking at the last 5 years as an average, would look like this. Manchester City, top 2.2 average position. Tottenham would be 2nd, 3.4. Chelsea would be 3rd, average finishing position 4th. Arsenal would be 4th with a 4.2 average finishing. United would be 5th with a 4.6. And Liverpool would be 6th outside of the Champions League places with an average finishing position over the last 5 years without taking this one into play, 4.8. So I think that's the most sensible solution I've ever heard from anybody talking about how this season should finish. And Mr. Orlis, you're an absolute genius. And I think everyone should go with Mr. Orlis's decision. I like that Lyon president, Ocean Rage. So do I. I still go clubbing, being only 21. Of course you do. Proper chap. But honestly, I'm not that social. I like to sit at home and watch YouTube, play video games. Man City, eat, sleep, drink, City, repeat. Chris Baker, Man City Fan TV. Well, you are Neanderthal with no dress sense. Mingy Wong, I don't go clubbing no more. It's just seeing drunk people on a Sunday early morning. The Aston Villa fan is wide awake. Ooh, Chris Baker's calling you an Aston Villa fan. Anyway, listen. This is Andy from Man City Fan TV. That's just a quick update talking about it. Apologies for the beginning. I didn't realise I put the thing in there and I was only going to show it for a second and then no sound came through for me. And I'm thinking, oh, I'll leave it up a little bit longer and things. But clearly it was playing the audio to you. So I do apologise for that one. maybe next time we need to just edit that and just take all the sound off it and just have a little rolling thing or something. It was something new. It came up on it. I don't know how I got there, but I managed to figure it out. But yeah, I do apologise. Sorry you had to listen to me twice. I know it's a pain in the ass, but hey, listen. Don't forget, go over and check out the Player Debate series. Episode 1 was about the loan players from Manchester City out at various clubs. Yesterday's was all about who me, Martin, and Tom thought potentially could leave or be sold in the summer. And today was all about the goalkeepers. And I take a look at stats surrounding Edison, Bravo, Zach Steffen. I look at Jan Oblak. I look at Ter Stegen. And I also look at Alisson. And we compare crossing and passing stats and see who comes out on top. Go over and see who actually does come out on top out of those keepers. I could have chose loads more, but the video would have been hours and hours long. So anyway, take care. This is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Don't forget to subscribe. Share it around your social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you need to. Don't forget, hit that bell icon and make sure your settings are set to public on YouTube. That way you'll be notified when all new videos come out, which, as you know, is 2, sometimes 3 a day. We've got FIFA career mode episodes coming out tomorrow. We've got other episodes of the Player Debate, and we've got a load more videos that are going to be putting out this week. Some new series that you'll really, really enjoy, and we are going to do a quiz. Might do one tomorrow. If not tomorrow, might do one Wednesday. But already made plans for that particular one, and some really interesting new rounds in the Man City Fan TV big quiz. And if you've been on before, you know we'll always give you a prize at the end. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Take care. Have a great evening. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Don't go out and panic buy whatever you do. We'll see you soon.